This is the 150mm Sturmpanzer 43L12 howitzer. And as howitzer goes, this is the shell that you'll be firing. High explosive shell, explosive mass 8.6 kilograms. Like, what are you trying to kill this thing again? Oh! I didn't even hit him already, that was a splash. Hey guys, it's Jim here, and welcome back to War Thunder. And today, we are checking out the closest thing we have to a Sturmtiger. This is the Sturmpanzer 4, or I believe this name is actually a nice nickname, not a German one. The Brummbär. And I seriously cannot believe that I hadn't really played this thing ever since the overpressure mechanic came out, and yeah, this is absolutely a very devastating vehicle. Now let me break it down to you and you'll see why. Now first things first, armor. At 4.3 battle rating, 100mm of armor that's sloped at 39 degrees. 39 degrees isn't really a lot, but the fact that this is 100mm of armor. So that means, yeah, I doubt even the long 76 on the A1 Sherman or the M6A1 can actually punch through this. And if you get down tiered, like, nothing is getting through this anytime soon. Except maybe a Breda 501 or the 17 pounder on the Achilles. And maybe the Sherman 105 heat shells, because that thing can really punch through anything. But yeah, if you get down tiered, there aren't that many vehicles that can actually punch through this. So this is actually pretty strong armor. Not to mention around the gun, there's also this ring, this 50mm sitting on top of 100mm, and as well as the little ball thingy that's holding the gun. 250mm as curved. Yeah, you're not getting through the top half here anytime soon. Just be careful about one thing though. Your barrel is not exactly an easy thing to miss given its caliber. And then moving down, we have the driver hatch, which I'm not too concerned about actually. It's only 80mm that's sitting underneath a variable thickness 80mm that's sitting underneath another 23mm variable thickness armor. And you might notice there's a hole there that is sitting underneath a... I have no idea how thick this thing is, man. And you don't need me to repeat again how broken variable thickness armor really is. However, when you're playing this thing, be very careful of this. This is the actual weak spot from the front. Why? It's only 20mm, and even though it's at a very wide slope, a lot of guns can actually punch through this. And if American 75 APCBZ can actually punch through this, you can bet your ass that everything else can. And not to mention, if you have explosive mass in the round, this is not a very big crew space in here. So it's a very easy one shot. Shoot it right here. And don't count on the tracks blocking it anytime soon. Or another spot to be careful of is this. It's only 15mm, and even though there's transmission here, be very careful that you are not a turreted vehicle. So that means if your mobility, be it your transmission or your driver or your engine, is knocked out, that's pretty much a death sentence for you. And why? Any vehicle that can outrun you or is able to knock out your mobility can simply just go around to your sides and shoot this. 60mm, and even though it's angled at 2 points, it's really not that protective. A lot of guns can actually go through this. Or they can just shoot this right here. 50mm sights, and this is not something easy to miss, especially for the fact that the ammo is stored around the housing here instead of somewhere hidden in the bottom compartment. And not to mention, your roof armor is basically non-existent. And since this is very wide and it's not modeled, every nook and cranny like the T-34s, yeah, 50 cals can punch through this, American 20 mils can punch through this, yeah, you name it, he punches through this. So my best recommendation when playing this thing is to simply play hold down. Basically try to find a spot where you hide your lower half so that all they shoot is this. Now moving on, let's look at the next selling point of this thing. This is the 150mm Sturmpanzer 43L12 howitzer. And as howitzer goes, this is the shell that you'll be firing. High explosive shell that pans up to 61mm at any range, at any angle. So that means German's T-34's Brummbär stages die to this thing. Not to mention, explosive mass 8.6 kilograms. Like, what are you trying to kill this thing again? Just be a bit careful about one thing though. If you come across a heavy tank like the KV ones, this shell might struggle with trying to destroy a KV-1 tank, unfortunately. But the good news is that you have heat shell. Sometimes players don't like to run with this thing, that's fine. But for me, I recommend maybe carry a few of these, like maybe 10 at least. So that if a heavy tank is really giving you trouble, you can always switch to this. I'd rather, spend my long reload trying to load something that can actually pen a heavy tank rather than load another high explosive and bring the gun that it does. And the heat shell, it pens up to 185mm at any range and a good angle of penetration because it's a heat shell. Now here's the unfortunate part that is the killing point of this thing. The other aspects of the gun. 150mm but you only carry 38 shells. That's not really a big deal honestly because 38 shells, carry as many as you want. You'll probably die before you run out of ammo anyway. And reloading rate, 18.4 seconds. It's actually kinda long, but one is that I'm running Expert Crew on with a maxed out tank loader on weapon reloading. However, 18.4 seconds might seem a bit long, but it's actually not too bad. I mean, want to make a comparison? Here is the KV2, and you have 43.3 seconds of reload of about the same gun caliber. As well as another vehicle that's at its better rating, the SU-152, 27.7 seconds. So after comparing the two, yeah, 18.4 seconds is actually not too bad. It's actually kind of fast for something this big. But still though, just because it is, doesn't mean that the enemy tank will just outrun you the second you fire. So be a bit careful, make sure you land the shots right. And then negative aim gun depression, that's not too bad. Not the best, not the most common of gun depression, it's a bit lacking, but considering how much the shells actually dips, this is not really a big deal. Unless you're on a very steep angle. And no gun stabilizer, and that's something to be careful of. 18.4 seconds. If your shell bounces and lands into the ground, yeah, that's a bit of a long reload for you there. So all in all, this is a premium vehicle and you might want to ask, is this thing actually worth buying? My answer is, yes, it's actually worth buying. However, I will not buy this thing at its full price. I won't buy this thing when there's a sale. And why? Not because I'm a cheap bastard, by the way. It's because this is actually a little bit of a challenge to use. Like, I get it, armor is thick, gun is powerful, but there are some drawbacks to this thing that may not be user-friendly. For one is that the shell's effective range. Like, the shell just dips into the ground pretty quickly for this thing. Like, even the KV2's 152mm high explosive shell has a much better range and velocity than this thing. And even at 1000 meters or less, there is a good chance you will miss. So this is actually a bit of a challenge vehicle to use. But once you get the hang of this vehicle, it's definitely worth using, definitely worth the price. Alright, that's all I gotta say about the tank. Let's take this thing out and let's just delete everything we see. Let's go. The hell are you looking at now? Any last words?
We no longer have the advantage.
Oh dear. Come on, come on, come on, come on, come on. Stop it. Oh. I see you. I have no idea where you are. If you can get that for me, please. Thank you. I thought he was on the cam, god damn it.
Attention to the map. Our victory.
Oh. Right on top of his head.
Attack the airport.
Go bye. Nope.
Allied forces have captured a zone.
Come on, reload. I know you want to. See ya. Catch, motherfucker! Yeah, I know, dishonorable, but it's literally all I can do right now.
Attention to the map.
Catch.
Allied forces have captured a zone. Attention to the map. Attention to the map. Attention to the designated grid squares.
You are stupid. You don't see me. Yeah, you need to go.
Thank you.
You suck. There you are. Come on, get off the trees. I dare you. There you go, get that shit out of here. Hey. Oh! I didn't even hit him already, that was a splash. Oh my goodness. Panzer 4, no, move! Come on, back up. I know you want to. Also yours, buddy. This spot might be a mistake.
Very much. Roger that. Now, attack the C-points.
Is that behind you? Knock it off me.
The enemy has captured most of the strategic zone.
Nobody shoots my friend except me.
Attack the
I
C-points. I agree. Sorry. Attention to the designated grid square. The enemy's getting closer to victory. There are forces have captured a zone. Well done.
just winged that one. That was a good shot though.
Attention to the map. Attention to the designated grid zone. Attention to the designated grid zone.
Something. Yikes! Holy shit, 8 kills with this thing.
Attention to the map.
Get out of the way,
Attack the C-point. Engage back up.
Oh. I explosive directly on point on the guy.
We're ahead of the enemy. Attention to the designated grid square.
Comrade, you blind piece of shit. I missed. Take two. Comrade, you blind piece of shit. Die.
Attention to the map. Attack the C-point. Repairing.
Ah, they may hit one of the metal trap stuff.
Victory is close.
Damn it!